Hello, welcome to Idea Lab, and I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host. And I'm thrilled to spend another hour with you, about an hour or so, as we go through, a business and personal performance plan. We're going to take a look back at the year and to kind of see how things have gone for you through the year, because that's part of getting ready for the new year. Look at how your ideas have transpired over the year, how your projects, how your business, your programs have worked for you throughout the year. And so that's kind of what today is all about. That's what today is all about. When you see on a calendar December, what do you think of? Do you think about holidays and vacation and Santa Claus and snow and good cheer and whatever holiday that you're celebrating? Is that what you think of when you think of December? Or do you think of business? Do you think of strategy and planning and planning for success for the next 12 to 16 months and taxes, unfortunately, especially here in the United States? Do you think of those things when you think of December? Well, the problem is that most people, not us, most people, and we're not most people, because you're looking at this program and you're taking your time, your most valuable resource, to spend that time with me today in this program. So you're not average, you're not most people, you're special. But most people enter the new year still planning. They enter the new year not doing, not being in action. They enter the new year so that January 2nd, they're not working on their first 3 profit-making actions for the year, and the profit-generating actions for the year. Those people who do are ahead of the game. Those people who do are ahead of those who were just starting the new year, planning to be in action. And so my goal for you with this program, and actually with the next program next month, is to get you in action before the year ends, to get you in action before all the holiday distractions, kind of take you away from business, and they should. But we've got plenty of days left for you to catch up, for you to get one more thing done that can bring in that last bit of profit for you, that last ounce of income for you before the end of the year. We've got the top 3 challenges that I find we face as small business people, as entrepreneurs, in December or moving into December. Number 1 is the media, it's society. From Halloween, at least here in the US, from Halloween through New Year's, we are inundated with what we need to be doing for the holidays, with buy this and shop for that and spend. And, we're inundated with that Hallmark moment kind of holiday celebration. That's one of the challenges that we face. Another challenge that we face as small business owners, as entrepreneurs, is distractions. I know that's kind of sounds like poor English, but that's another challenge. All the distractions that are out there for the holiday season. We've got the holiday music that here in Washington, D.C., my favorite station starts holiday music. I think it'll be this weekend, which is even before Thanksgiving. It makes me crazy. But, so I have that distraction. We have the TV distractions. We have the internet distractions. We have the social media distractions, and just all the people who call, and the plans, and the family, and the friends, and all those distractions that take us away from our mission, take us away from the work that we have to do. And then the third distraction is our mindset. Our mindset. I heard someone at the beginning of November say to me, this was a business person, say to me, November's here now. The year's end, the year's come to an end. There's really not much more I can do this year to change the course of my income, to change any profit that I'm going to make. And I'm thinking, whoa, we've got 2 solid months. in order to do some things to make that last bit of income, to work on that last profit potential for the year. So what do you mean that we're at the end of the year and there's nothing more you can do? You can be in action right up to December 31st. So, it's the mindset. It's this that gets in our way to say holidays, time to stop, time to rest, time to take a break. Now, yes, we should, and I know should, yes, we should ease up a little bit. It is the holiday time, and there's special holidays. Whatever your faith, whatever your culture, something pretty much is there to celebrate in November and or December. You need to take that break. You need to honor your traditions or create new traditions depending on what your life is like. You need to kind of back off and take a couple days, take a few days for yourself. You need to renew. That's part of what the end of the year brings us. Renewal, regeneration. So that needs to happen. If we stay running, if we stay in action constantly, 365 days a year, we cannot serve those whom we wish to serve in our businesses, in our nonprofits, in our causes, whatever it is we're doing. So yes, we do need to take some time for us, take some time to recognize and celebrate whatever it is we do. However, there's plenty of business time in there in order to get things done. So we do need, in the middle of the resetting and renewing, yet we do need to look at doing some things before we stop, slow down, and spend time on the holidays. So that we can set up for success, so that for what I call ridiculous results. I hear some people say peak performance. Well, that term is used and taken. So I thought, what are we working on? We're working on ridiculous results. That's my alliteration for great success. Ridiculous results as we enter the new year. The other part of mindset is thinking about, are you running a business or are you running a hobby? If you're running a hobby, then you can afford to kind of slow down, take some time, put it aside, come back after the new year starts. But if you're running a business, you pretty much can't afford to stop for too long before you pick things up again and get back in action. I am no different from anyone else in terms of once I kind of coast for a day or two or three, then it kind of turns into 5 days of coasting. And then by the 7th, it's like, oh, I really don't feel like getting back into the swing of things. Whereas if I settle down and ease off for a couple of days, then I'm still okay for coming back and being in action, say the day after Thanksgiving. Instead of spending money, being in action to make a little bit more money before I see the year out. So, am I running a business or are you running a hobby? And then, are you seriously invested in yourself? Are you seriously invested in your success? Are you just half asking? I know there's a commercial we go about. Are you half asking? Yeah, I said that for a reason. Are you half asking for success? And say that fast 3 times and you'll come out with what I'm really thinking. So are you really invested in yourself or are you just half asking for success? Think about that. And when you answer that question, we can move on, we can continue. If you're really invested in your success, stay with me. Solution is first looking back. How did you do this year? And that's what this business and personal performance review is all about. It's kind of a report card for the year. Whether you do this right now, along with me here, or whether you look at this later and you do it towards the end of the year. Whenever you do it soon so that you can take measure for real of where you've come this year. You can look back, you can plan ahead, you can assess your performance, and your results, which is important, and you can determine and set the goals for what you want for the next 6 to 12 months and what you want them to look like. You can develop your plan for getting there, because if you look back and measure where you've come and celebrate, then you can plan ahead to see how you want to grow for the next 12 to 16 months. I'm going to engage you by going through today's program. Like I said, plan on about an hour or so as I take you through this report card and have you think through the answers for yourself to each of the sections that I'm going to share with you. And then I'm going to tell you how you can plan ahead, based on the results from your work today. Because part of what I'll be doing next month is presenting you with how I plan and use a specific tool that I call a one-page plan. And I'll tell you more about that towards the end of the program and how you can join me to create your one-page plan for the new year. That was really, in fact, it was my most popular program at the end of last year. And so, Mama didn't raise any dumb kid. I figured, well, if it was so popular at the end of last year, let me present it to you, show you about it at the end of this year also. So that's what we'll do. We're going to go through the business and performance review today in this program. Hopefully, you registered for this live stream. Hopefully, you registered for this program, because if you did, then you got the link in the response for how to get your copy of the business and personal yearly performance review and report card. And it's at this link that you see on the screen. You can still go to it while I'm talking, flip the screen to another window, go and download this PDF, because you need to follow it while you're following me in this program. So you really need this document in order to make sense of most of the rest of the show. So what do you have in this business and personal yearly performance review and report card? Long name. I'll try to just say in this performance review or this report card, I'm still talking about the same document. So what do you have here? Well, what I have given you, you've got what I'm going to take you through, and what you have is it's a tool where you can mark and assess for yourself where you've been and where you want to go. Since it's a download, you can mark it up now. You can come back to it later and mark it up. And at the end of the show, hopefully I remember, let me tell you now, just in case I don't remember, I would use this tool, and I do use my own version of the tool, probably once a month, once every couple of months, to give itself a check on where are you at the end of a certain period of time. You want to review and reassess periodically as you go through the year, so that you know how you're tracking towards the goals that you set. And you will set goals and actually map them out in this one-page plan in the next program. But today is looking back and then making some decisions about where you want to be in the next 12 to 16 months. So, on the first page, I go through an introduction to what this tool is, what this business plan is. I want to give a shout out to some people who have made some significant contributions to the program. I've spent all kinds of money on all kinds of coaching over the last few years. And the result of a lot of that coaching and consulting with other people who are where I want to be is this plan, this tool is the culmination of, or the compilation of a lot of people's input. But I want to give specific shout outs to 3 significant coaches that I've had throughout the past few years. Number 1 is Marquessa Petway, CSP. She is a friend and a colleague from National Speakers Association that I met. And Marquessa kind of introduced me to the idea of a report card, of a business report card. So I really, really want to give her a shout out. You can see she's the business reinvention and speaker coach. And Marquessa was significant in getting me thinking about and creating my own report card for the year. She takes people through her own process of evaluating how the year has gone and putting some specific measures to how that to that assessment so that we can plan for the new year. So she's had a major influence in me creating such a tool. Tassie Russo is a colleague and a friend. She's a business coach and a messaging maven, I call her. And she has given me some really good perspectives on aspects of my business there where I need to concentrate on, that's bad English, but aspects of my business that I need to concentrate on in order to be successful. And a lot of that has to do with the funnel and the messaging. And while all three of these coaches that I have on the screen have contributed to all of these areas, Tassie has really helped me locally sit down and work through some of these aspects of my business. So a shout out to Tassie. This report, this performance review composes some of the things that we've worked through over the past couple of years. And then Lisa Nichols. I think many of you know Lisa Nichols, Motivating the Masses. She was on The Secret, and she's done many, many other things since then. She was a huge influence on me as well, on my business as well. I was part of her Global Leader Program. I guess you're always part of it once you're in it. And so a lot of this thinking through this report card is a result of the things that she's taught me over the years in terms of running my business. So a shout out to these three coaches in my life, three people who have become friends in one way or another in my life. They have been huge influences on this tool and on this business review process. So that said, let's move into the actual performance review tool. So the first thing you're going to see is that there are 8 categories that I've determined, again, from my experience with the coaches that I've worked with and through my own business success. There are 8 areas that I feel we need to review and that you need to review in terms of your business and your life. And by the way, if you don't have a business yet, that's okay. I feel that these are areas that you should examine in your professional life too, a professional career, in order to move ahead, in order to get promotions, in order to get where you want to be in the next 12 to 16 months. So there are 8 areas. Let me cover the 8 areas. Actually, I'll do that in the 8 areas, as you can see here on the screen. Aspects of your business include, your business environment. I'm going to go into detail now in the rest of this program, but we're going to look at the business environment that you're operating in, or your professional environment. What's going on in your back office? I'll explain that more specifically. We're going to look at your financials. You need to look at your financials to see how you did this year. How did you do with marketing and promotion? How diversified are you? How diversified are you with what you've done in your business and where you're getting your income from? How are you as a leader? If you're a solo business owner, you're still a leader. You're a leader of one. So how are you as a leader in some of the aspects of leadership? What are you doing for personal development? What are you doing for renewal for yourself, to learn more, to grow your skills? And then we'll look at what are you doing personally to recharge, to regenerate, to renew, and to attend to your personal life in order to stay in action in your business. They all go hand in hand. So those are the 8 areas that I feel are very, very important to your business success, your professional success, and your life success. How we're going to use the tool. You saw that the tool that you have, the report card that you have, has that one page where you will be marking up that circle. This is how the markup goes. There's a rating key. So you'll see on your circle that there are 5, 6, there's I think 5 notches if you go from center to the outer part of the circle. The center is 0. See the little arrow, see the kind of arrow brownish arrow that's on the right hand side of the screen, right hand side of the circle. So you're working your way from 0 to 5 in terms of a rating. On the left side of the screen and in your report card, you'll see the rating key. 5 is excellent. You have performed in the area that you're evaluating at the highest level, and you got your expected or greater results. Now I'm not going to read off all these ratings, but you'll see 5 is super duper best in the best you could be. And 0 in the center of the circle is you didn't do squat. You didn't perform well, or it doesn't apply to you. It's a 0. No action, doesn't mean anything to you, didn't do it at all, did not address it at all. So you want to be honest with yourself. So each of the notches on the circle, you see each line has 0, represents 0 through 5 from in the circle, from the center through the outside part of the circle. So what you're going to do is, for each category that I go through, you're going to identify how you think you did in that category. This is your rating. You are rating yourself. You don't have to show this to anyone else. This is your truth with where you are. And you see here on the screen, in this picture, once you identify how you think you did in each category, you're going to draw lines from one point to the next around the circle. So ideally would be a complete circle and not jagged like you see here. But your truth is it's going to be a jagged circle. And so the inner darker line, it's either black or blue, I can't see right now, but the inner darker line is would be my imaginary evaluation as I look back on the year. And you can see each category might have a different rating because we all focus on different things. We've all done certain things well, and there are certain things that we need to work on. So as I look back over the year, and again, this is an imaginary rating, I identified how I thought I did throughout the year for each category. That's the inner, I'll say, set of lines that you see here on the screen. At the end, when you think about how you want to perform next year or in the next 12 to 16 months, you're going to do the same thing, go around the circle and identify for each category, what's your goal? What do you want to achieve for that category throughout the year? And be honest and be realistic. Sometimes you may not be able to advance 2 notches or 3 notches and to go from so-so to absolutely perfect. You may just be able to advance from a 3, which is so-so, to a 4. I did pretty well this year, and that's your goal. That's what you strive to do for the next year. So you can see there's 2 sets of lines, and that's what you want to end up with at the end, is a look back, and then where do you want to be next year? And the difference, you see the colored little lines filled in the upper left corner part of the circle. I show you where I filled in the gap. That gap is what you're going to work out in terms of what do you need to do to go from where you are now to where you want to be. So it's a good visual to see, I've got a wide gap or I've got a narrow gap. And so that's your mission. That's how you'll use this tool. You'll mark out where you were this year, how you assess yourself, where you want to go for the next 12 to 16 months, and then color in the gap so that you can see how much or how little you need to do in order to get where you want to go. So that's the rating. And replay this recording later if you need to re-listen to how to use this tool. But that's the rating. You have it in your performance plan. And so now let's move into each of the categories and cover them in detail. So the first category is going to be the business environment, and as I say in the title of the category, your business environment and future vision. So I'm going to take each category and then kind of take you through the questions you might ask yourself in order to rate yourself for each category. All right, so it's going to go faster than you can write. That's intentional. I want you to just to listen as I go through each category, and at the end of the category, I'll pause for just a second or two because you can always come back to the recording. And if you registered for this live stream and for this program, you'll get the link to the recording at the end. So listen to me as I go through each category, and then at the end of each category, I'll pause just enough for you to go, my initial thought on how I did this year is, and then you mark what you think for that category. And it's the line to the left of the wording in each category. Actually, it really doesn't matter, but to be consistent, the line and the notches that are to the left of each category word in your circle is where you would mark your assessment for that category. So here we go, business environment and your future vision. So how did you do with this category, with this area? You know, how much, and here are some of the detail. How much do you know about your industry? How much do you know about your field of practice? You know, how well are you serving your industry? How well are you practicing your specialty, your area of expertise and your specialty? That's the business environment. It's considering your competition. Do you know who your competition is? How much do you know about your competition to your business? How much do you know about competitive industries to what you do? How are you doing with complementary businesses? How much do you know about complementary businesses and organizations? If you're a nonprofit, then just take the word business and translate that to nonprofit. So I'm just going to say business because I'm in business. So how well do you know your competition? And how well do you know your complementary businesses? Because there's a lot of people who a lot of businesses might seem like competition. They might actually be complementary to you based on what you do. For example, if you're a real estate agent, if you're in real estate, a complementary business might be an investment business. A legal business might be complementary, believe it or not. Obviously, a mortgage business is going to be complementary to you. So, whereas a competition might be another direct real estate agent in your area. They might even be complementary if they focus on a different aspect of real estate from that on which you focus. So think about that too. Just because two people, and we coaches definitely, speakers definitely, who you see as competition might not be competition. They might be complementary to you. So how well do you know your industry and your business environment? And do you know who is competition versus who is complementary to you? That's important because you can call on the complementary businesses to grow your business later. So how well do you know that up to this point? What do you know about the market forces, about the economy that determines how your business has gone? What are you reacting to market forces? Have you reacted to your market forces and the environment and the economy this year? Or have you prepared for the inevitable changes that take place in the economy and in market forces? How have you handled the economy this year and how you're doing in your business or your profession based on that? Do you stay up to date with the news? I mean, we are so inundated now with media. We have news, we can get the news from many, many different sources. And I know, if you're into professional development a lot and into positive thinking a lot of times I've heard, shut off the news. You don't want to hear about all the negativity out there. Stay vested in positive messages. I agree with that up to a point. I believe that we need to know what's going on in our world. However way we need to do that, whether it's reading something, whether it's checking, social media, although you want verified news sources, you want verified sources that you can trust rather than just all the chatter out there. So be really careful with with staying abreast of the news. So I mean staying aware of what's going on in your business, what's going on in the economy, in the industry, what's happening in the world, because we are a world economy. What's happening in the world that influences what you're doing in your business? How have you kept track of that throughout the year? Do you listen and read and watch trusted sources daily? Do you speak with experts about what's going on in the world and what's going on in the business environment and the economy so that you can prepare for the inevitable changes and be ready for them? Have you studied multiple sources as you've done research about your industry and about the economy and about the business environment that you practice in? How open have you been to new ideas? Do you get new ideas? Are you open to new ideas that other people have shared or revealed to you? Have you considered the impact of new ideas on on your business? And have you implemented new ideas in your own situation in order to grow your business over the year? Do you plan? Did you do much planning this year to allow for the business environment and how your business responds to it? Do you know how to plan? And then have you done it? Do you know how to identify strategy and lay out your strategy for the year? And have you actually followed your own strategy? That's my area of expertise. So if you need help with that, a little bit of a pitch, that's what I can work with you on. Working out your planning, your strategy, especially now. I'm pretty busy right now as the year ends and then as the year begins, because this is the time when businesses, whether it's solo or whether it's companies working with their teams, that I spend time doing strategy sessions. So if you're weak in that area, one of your solutions for the new year for getting better at it is to work with someone like me or someone else to help you with that strategy. So all of that comes into the business environment and your future vision. Competition, complementary businesses, what are the market forces in the economy and how well have you kept up with that? Have you stayed up to date with the news? Have you done research constantly on your industry and on the business environment? Open to new ideas, implement new ideas, and then do the planning and the strategy to make sure you're in line with the actions you needed to take throughout this year. That's business environment and future vision. So with that, give a second or two thought to how did you do with all of that, and then give yourself a rating on the grid. So in light of timing, and because we don't want too much dead air on a program, I'm going to move on. If you're watching this as a recording later, I would pause the recording to give a little more thought to how you think you did. Now, the warning that I've got, or a little bit of a note about each category, there's a lot to each category. So you might be great in a couple of areas, not so great in a couple of other areas within the category. The point is to kind of assess how you did overall with that category. And so that's why, as I go through the detail, a lot of things to consider. Come back to this, play this again, and until you get all of the aspects of each category that you need to assess. So all of that was under business environment and future vision. The next category is back office. That's the aspect of working on your business as opposed to in your business. Back office is your infrastructure. It's the infrastructure of your business. Your back office consists of all of the things that allow you to do your business. They allow you to do what you started your business to do in the first place. When you have your back office together, you've got your infrastructure in place, and you've got your systems and your processes in place so that you can now do more of your business and do the things that you started your business to do. And so we'll get to that when I start talking about, when I get to, I think it's diversification, where you're working in the business. But right now, let's look at how you did with your back office this year, the infrastructure this year. There are a lot of aspects to working on your business. So listen to these different aspects as you're figuring out how to do with each of those and adjusting your rating. Oh, I did great with that. So you move your rating up a little bit, and then I say something else and you go, oh, not so great. So you back it up a little bit, and eventually you'll come up with an average for the rating for this category. So back office is infrastructure. Number one, what's your office like, your workspace? Do you have an office? Do you have a specific area, a specific room, specific location? It's more than a closet where you actually conduct your work. If you're at a home office, what's that like for you? Are you working out of under the steps, or in the bedroom with the baby crib over there in the corner? Or do you have a designated office space from which to work? Or are you working outside of your home? So what's your office space like? Is it business only so that you're not distracted? Is it distraction free from family, from other distractions that could be taking place at home or even in a designated area? I am recording here in the studio from a shared office space. So there are distractions. So I can't work every day from here because there's a lot of what I do needs my focus, and I can't focus and create with a lot of other distractions, other noise in the background. So if I only had this space to work from, it's wonderful for collaboration, but if I only had this space, I'd have to say some of the distraction is a negative for me. Because I have both this space where I can collaborate as well as my home office, that's dedicated office space, close the door, distractions out. I rate really highly in the area of office space because I have both worlds that serve me well for both situations. So think about what you've got for your work area. Is it an effective work area? Do you have good room? Do you have all the tools you need easily accessible? How is it organized? Are there piles and piles of piles that just distract your mind and take your mind away from your work? Or is it organized and neat? Can you close the door? This to me is important to your personal balance. Can you close the door when the day is over and shut out whatever day over means for you? Can you close the door of your office and leave business to then go tend to your personal life? Think about how your workspace is for you and how it served you this year. Back office includes the tools and the resources that you have to work to conduct your business. They include your systems. Do you have systems identified? Do you have systems in place? Do you have what you need? Can you use the tools effectively? I'm thinking of things like software tools, like CRM, customer relationship marketing tools, things that allow you to automate your processes from customer contact through making the orders, through fulfilling the orders, and then following up with them. Do you have these systems, software, internet, in the cloud, hardware, software on your computer, on your laptop, on your tablet, whatever you use for technology? Do you have those systems in place? Beware of some of these resources. Sometimes you get what you pay for. I love free downloads. I'm no different from anyone else. But sometimes some of the free tools aren't quite as good as tools that you pay for or the upgraded services from the free service. So just be aware of the tools that you have. Are they serving you well? And for anything that involves an investment, will those serve? Do you have tools that will serve you well in the next 6 to 12 to 16 months? I know there's obsolescence that comes along too quickly, once you've invested in something as heavy duty as a customer relationship marketing system, you don't want to have to change that in the next year or so. You want to be able to use that for the next year or 2 or 3, because once you set that up, you need to stop worrying about setting it up and configuring and start using it. So all of that to say that, how are the tools and the resources that you have? Do you have what you need? Are they effective? Are you using them effectively? And will they serve you in the next year to 2 in your business? What about systems and processes? Now, this is systems, not computer systems, but systems and processes that you've identified to help you do your business. Have you identified how orders will take place? Have you identified how you'll respond to an order? Have you identified what you do when the phone rings and somebody wants to talk to you about your business? Have you identified what you'll do when you go out networking and how you'll follow up with your networking? Have you identified what you do for, say, for example, to do these idea labs? I have a set process laid out so that I basically a checklist, so that I've scheduled the studio, so that I've spoken with the producer, so that I've pulled together the resources that I need. If I invite guests, I have a process for inviting guests and how I tell them what to do and how to prepare. I know I have a checklist for making sure I bring what I need to bring. That's what I mean by systems and tools and checklists. Do you have that in place for all the things that you do? And are they documented so that if something should happen to you, heaven forbid, someone else can pick up and see, oh, he does this on Tuesdays in order to make sure his business stays viable. Oh, she gets a newsletter out every other week. These are the things she does to get that newsletter out, so that someone can step in and take over should something happen to you. Or should you be thinking about selling your business at some point? All of these systems and processes are in place. So how are you doing with identifying systems and processes in your business, and then documenting them, and then following them? And have you taught other people about some of the things that you're doing? So that's all part of your back office. Do you have a plan B for a lot of your processes? Sometimes you may need a plan C. So how well are you doing in that area? Do you have a business fulfillment process so that you go from interest to order to delivering that order to following up to stay in touch? Do you have a business fulfillment system in place for whatever it is you do? Do you have staff? How are you doing with staff, whether it's virtual or in person? Do you need staff yet? You know, this might be that doesn't apply to me right now, but it also may be, you know what, I've needed some help and I haven't gotten it yet this year. See, so think about, how are you doing with getting help? Have you identified a job description and what you need a staff to do, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person physically in your workspace? So identifying what you need, who you need, and what you need what you need them to do. That's one thing. Documenting that is another thing. And then actually having someone who does that job, evaluating them and assessing whether they're doing it appropriately and adequately. That's another whole area of staff. So all of that comes part of your back office, working on the business. How organized are you? Do you have a filing system electronically and physically? How are you doing with the files on your computer, the physical files in your cabinet? How are you doing with your, the closets? And have you got piles and piles of paper, or have you got things so that they're easily accessible, whether it's electronic or not? That's part of your back office. How do you do with implementation? Have you set goals? Do you have milestones and checkpoints? Do you have action plans and strategies and a way to be accountable for what you're accomplishing? This is all back office stuff. It's planning. It's getting that infrastructure set so that you can then go out and do your business. How are you with productivity? How did you do with productivity this year? Are you busy, or are you accomplishing things? So it's time management. It's regular planning and strategy. Are you consistent with your habits? Have you got a plan, a one-page plan, and are you following it? And we'll be tracking that next program. And then your paperwork. Again, all of this is back office. Your paperwork. Do you have your legal paperwork together? Your tax and financial paperwork together? Your insurances pulled together? So there's a lot of things to consider in your back office. So I want you to just think about, absorb all of that, and give yourself an initial rating. Give yourself a rating for how you did this year with your back office. So again, you can pause if you're listening to watching the recording later. We're going to move on to the next area of your business, and that's your financials. This is the stuff you can take to the bank. This is mostly why you're in business to begin with, your financials. But your financials involve more than just how much money you're making. So, how are you doing in these areas? Do you have a budget? Do you know what a budget is? Do you know how to budget? So, how's your budget, and how did you track? Did you set one up? And how have you tracked with your budget this year? Are you over budget? Are you under budget? So think about how you've done with budgeting. How did you do with your business projections this year? Did you make projections? Which of course helps you create your budget somewhat. So how did you do with your business projections, your numbers, your financial projections for the year? Did you meet them? Did you exceed them? Did you not meet them? Your sales, your income, if this isn't December 31st yet, you don't know your year-end results. And this is where you could take some more actions for the next few weeks in order to up that income, in order to up those sales and get some better results before the year ends. But overall, you should have been tracking on a month-by-month basis at least. How did you do this year with your sales? How did you do this year with your income? This ties to budget too, your expenses. Have you had expenses that you didn't expect? Have you done really well with keeping your expenses under control? Or have you spent too much this year? And have you spent it on things that have been worthwhile and set you up for more business next year? Because sometimes you could go over budget and spend a little more, but if it's an investment in your future, especially your near future in your business, that may be okay, and you feel good about that. How's your cash flow? Are you, what does they say, paper rich and cash poor with your business? Can you float? Can you get the things you need for your business, especially the petty cash kinds of items? Now, I'm not a tax person, so just consult a tax person to really go through your finances. Consult a financial planner or whoever you may need who's an expert in this area, because I need this myself. And I have a couple of experts who help me with the financials. So how's your cash flow? How are your savings? We're in the hustle, and we're busy making money, spending money, but we need to be saving for the future as part of our business. That's something we don't often tend to. So how are your savings for the year? Savings may involve investing. Have you invested? How are your investments? Can you retire at some point? Are you building up something that's a cushion for the future? Do you understand it all? I find this is a very, very weak area for many of us, especially as solo business owners. We didn't learn this stuff, or we didn't master this stuff in school. And so we're busy. We love what we do, and we're busy working in our business, but we don't always understand the financials. So how are you doing with your understanding it all the things that I talked about? And have you found help, or are you still struggling in this area? So take a moment and rate yourself on your financials considering these aspects. All right, the next category, we're halfway there. The next category is marketing and promotion. how are you doing with your marketing and promotion? And I've got a lot of items under marketing promotion and promotion. I'm going to try to just touch on the tips of the iceberg for marketing and promotion. Basically, the question is, how deep is your understanding of and your expertise in yes, how deep is your understanding and your expertise in marketing and in promoting your business that leads to sales, that leads to recognition, that leads to branding, and so that makes people aware of who you are, what you're doing, what you have to offer, and when you're offering it. So there's branding and positioning. How have you done with your branding and positioning this year? Do you understand your target market? Do you understand your who, as one of my coaches says? Do you understand your target market, and are you able to serve your target market? Have you defined your audience? Have you reached your audience? Does your audience get you and get your business? What's your online presence like? Do you have multiple platforms where you're online? Is your online presence consistent and in sync with your brand, with the other aspects of your brand and of your marketing? There's many other aspects here, but are you positioned with your brand with your target market so that it all is in sync? How did you do this year with all of that? Your messaging. Is your messaging clear? Does your target market understand your messaging and get you and get your business? So how's your messaging? What do you like with copywriting? And have you gotten help with copywriting? Copywriting pertains to your messaging, which pertains to your branding. How are you doing with lead generation activities? Are you building lists, and are you keeping that list so that it's a good active list rather than just numbers? A bunch of likes is great ego satisfying, but are those likes turning into actual action for you with your business in whatever medium you're using? How about your in-person connections? Are you initiating connections with people in person? Are you qualifying prospects and following up with people? Or are you just out being busy socializing? So how's that going for you this year? Do you speak? Do you speak publicly? And you don't have to be a speaker who's on stage with thousands of people. Do you get out and talk to 2 or 3 people at a networking event? Do you have a group of people? Can you go out and speak to 4 or 5 people to talk about your business, to share your expertise? Can you run workshops or seminars, whether they're online or offline, in order to get people to see you? Speaking is one of the most effective ways to market and promote yourself. If you're in a job, if you're in a career, I've told people the best career development advice that I got was to volunteer to speak, to volunteer to be in front of people, and you will be seen as the expert, whether you are or not. So speaking is a huge marketing tool. How well are you doing that? Are you doing it? Do you need help with even standing up and not fainting in order to speak? So think about how you're doing with that. Are you getting out and networking? Are you networking effectively in the right groups, seeing the right people, and qualifying folks in order to continue a relationship and building a relationship rather than just giving out your business card? Is public relations something you need to be doing? And how are you doing with that? Public relations, media, whether it's print media, electronic media, mail, there is still good old-fashioned mail, whether it's U.S. postal or international mail, email still is there. How are you doing with incorporating all of these different mediums in your marketing and your promotion? Are you establishing, building, maintaining relationships online and off? Because these relationships are marketing. They turn into referrals. They turn into, you can be connected with decision makers with these relationships. They turn into affiliate work with other people, joint ventures, partnerships, and collaboration. So these relationships are really, really important in terms of marketing and promotion. And then, how are you measuring your marketing and your promotion? How did you do? Do you have measurements in place? I'm sort of weak in that area. So I've had to rate myself a little bit, less than that. I'm great in getting out and meeting people and establishing relationships. My measurements aren't so great. So I need work in that. So do you have measurements and statistics, I can't say that word, in place? And do you analyze them and do you act on the results? All of this, I believe, falls into marketing and promotion. So take a moment and rate yourself on how well you've handled your marketing and promotional tasks this year. So the next area is, I call it diversification. It's how are you handling, do you have multiple streams of income where you're working in your business, where you're actually producing the products that you're selling, or you're actually conducting the services that you provide for your target market. So areas of things that encompass your multiple streams of income, that encompass this category for diversification, are how many products and services do you have already that are what you're making money on? Do you have products? Do you have products? Do you have products and services created, and how many, and are they effective? Do you have them online? Do you have them offline? Depends on what your business is. If you're a pure service provider, like a doctor or a dentist or real estate agent, you may not have books and CDs and that kind of thing, but your product is what you do, your service. So how well are you making money on that this year? How varied are your services? How is your content? How is your content if you're producing intellectual property products, info products? Are you speaking for fee? Because that's income generation. So they're speaking for marketing and promotion, where you do back of the room sales or you do pre-sales with your products, if that's a key mode of marketing. But there's also speaking for fee if you're a speaker, or if that's a key way of you getting income. It's a multiple stream of income. Are you facilitating workshops and facilitating meetings? Is that a part of your multiple streams of income? There's all kinds of ways, depending on what your expertise is and what your business model is. Facilitation, consulting, writing, coaching, training, those are all ways of all multiple streams of income. Subscription and member services, one-to-many programs where you're working with groups. You're working with many people as a group. Licensing, franchising, distributorships, independent contractors, multi-level marketing. All these are different modes of income generation. Do you have specialty skills and services and expertise? How well are you serving in your specialty in order to bring in income? And then what are your sales? What are the results based on your multiple streams of income, based on all the things you do to work in your business, as opposed to the back office, which was working on your business? So how did you do with all of those aspects of your expertise, of the areas that actually bring in money for you throughout the year, and that serve your passion, that serve your heart, so that you're doing what you love, and also loving what you do, as that term goes, with bringing in income, whether it's a nonprofit, bringing in volunteers, bringing in a board. How are you doing with working in your business? Multiple streams of income, and diversification. So take a moment to think about how you did in that category and rate yourself. So the next category is leadership. So we're on the heading towards the end of this self-evaluation. Leadership. Like I said, if you're a solo business owner, you might be thinking, leadership? Who have I got to lead? If you have a staff, that's a little bit easier to realize leadership. Let's take, because I'm a solo business owner, I have a lot of 1099 contractors that help me, but I'm a solo business owner. So I look at, how are you doing with your leadership over the year? How are you doing with self-discipline? That's being a leader of one. Are you disciplined yourself so that you are leading yourself? You're practicing what you preach, if that's what you preach, and that you're following all of the good business practices that you need to be following. Rate yourself on that. How are you doing with developing your own skills? Because leaders continually improve their skills. So how are you doing with developing your own skills? Have you developed loyal followers, whether you're using social media or whether you're getting out and about in person physically? Do you have followers? Do you have people who are loyal to you and would follow you anywhere? And I mean, even, I think about my dentist. I have been a customer of his, a client of his for probably almost 30 years. I now live way far away from him, but twice a year, I go down to an hour, almost an hour and 20 minutes drive to do business with him, to see him. I am that loyal a follower of his. And that's what I mean by loyalty. How well have you developed followers who stick with you no matter what? Because you've earned that followership. There's a whole aspect of leadership that I cover in other areas. So how many loyal followers and how deeply do they follow you? Because you've earned that followership. How do you handle controversy and difficult situations? How have you handled that this year? That's a part of leadership. If you have direct reports, or have you been developing them and promoting them so that you basically move them out of the jobs that they have? It's a scary thing. I was a manager in a major corporation, and that was a scary thing, is when you have somebody good, you hate to lose them, but you need to develop your people. So how well are you doing that? And that goes for your virtual staff also. I believe you need to develop and encourage and build your virtual staff so that they potentially can out-business you at some point. But then imagine how much more valuable they are to you when you've developed them, grown them, and they're loyal to you. I am really, really fortunate to have such people as my virtual staff. And that makes me feel really good. So that's leadership. Do you give your followers autonomy? That's what I mean by teaching them, building them. What is it? I believe the children are our future. I believe my followers are my future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. And you need to release them, be able to release them if you need to. How do you trust other people? That's part of leadership, building trust, in having trust in other people. Are you a servant leader? Now, I don't have time to describe what that is, but basically, are you of service? Look that up. Servant leader. Are you a servant leader in your business and in your community? And are you a role model? How have you done in the leadership realm this year? Rate yourself on that, on being a leader of one or a leader of many. The seventh, almost last, so we're going over the hour, but that's okay. I mean, there wasn't a definitive end time here. The seventh category to rate yourself on is professional development, your expertise. If you're in the training arena, you've heard of KSAs, but many of you are not. It means your knowledge, that's the K, your skills, that's the S, and your attitude, that's the A. How are you doing? How did you do in developing your knowledge, your skills, and your attitude towards people, towards business, towards success? So this involves many aspects. Did you attend seminars and workshops throughout the year? Did you attend conferences? Did you learn from them? Have you formed idea mind teams? And if you followed me at all, you know what an idea mind team is, people who support you. Do you have mastermind group or groups? Do you take classes online and offline? How are you doing with reading books and listening to audio and watching video that helps you improve your knowledge, improve your skills, or change your attitude? Have you been working on a degree? Did you get certifications in your field at all? Have you got a coach, a mentor, a guide? How are you doing with professional and business organizations? Do you belong to any? Plenty of learning takes place and sharing takes place in professional organizations. What are you doing for skills development and knowledge building and attitude awareness? Because your attitude is your mindset, and that determines how well you do in your business also. So all of that encompasses professional development and growing your expertise. So how did you do with developing your expertise this year and with professional development this year? Rate yourself on that. And then the last category, by the way, that professional development also includes, I was looking at my notes, also includes how well you communicate. How have you developed your communication skills? How have you developed your technology skills this year? And where what do you need to develop more? But so rate yourself, that's all professional development. And then the final category is your personal focus. It's last, but it's not least. Professional development, your personal focus. How are you doing on the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical level? Because if you aren't keeping yourself in tune and tending to your own personal needs, you can't tend to your business needs. So how are you doing with your personal focus? This involves things like, what are your values and your ethics? Did you stick to them this year? Did you make decisions that are consistent with your values and your ethics? Do you even know what they are? And have you defined them? How about your primary relationship? How have you done with maintaining and growing and deepening your primary relationship? Whether it's your spouse or your partner or your significant other and your family, however way you define those people, have you developed and maintained and deepened your primary relationship? How about friends? And I mean friends in a variety of levels, because we have friends from that I see you once a year and that fulfills me, right on up to your BFF, your best friend, and they could be online and offline. So how are you doing with maintaining friendships and a variety of friendships? Do you have pets? If you're a pet person, do you have pets? Pets keep pet people very centered. Sometimes pets do more for people who want pets and love pets. Sometimes they do more for you than other people do. So if you are a pet person, do you have them? How well did you do with maintaining them and dealing with them this year? Hobbies, fun activities, interests outside of your profession. Do you have them? Have you done anything in those areas? And do you stick to and tend to your hobbies and your interests? So, because it's not all business in life, even though sometimes that hustle seems like it's all business. Quiet time. Have you taken quiet time? Now, as a speaker and a facilitator and a person who is kind of type A and extrovert, or what most people see as the extrovert, thinking of quiet time, sometimes people are, you aren't ever quiet, are you? Well, yeah, I am. And there are places you can either go someplace to be quiet, you can take time in your own environment, find a way to be quiet. You can even take quiet retreats. I've taken a couple of quiet retreats over the years. And you need to listen to yourself. You need to just feel yourself sometime to help you deal with the hustle. How well did you do with that? Did you take a vacation? Did you get away? I consider vacation 3 days or more. For me, anyway, if you're like me, it takes 1 day to just realize you're on vacation. It takes the second day to kind of, okay, I can relax now. I can do this. And it's not until that third day that you really are into the relaxation or the fun or if you're into extreme sports, into really enjoying what you're doing. So getting away for 3 days or more to me is really, really important. So have you taken a vacation this year or gotten away? If you're in a home-based office, can you close the door? Can you shut out the lights? Can you leave the telephone on message and leave the workspace when you're finished for the day? How well can you shut out the rest of the business world, the work world, the professional world, to take some time, take that space to be you? Do you volunteer? Do you engage in philanthropy? That's important to being a rounded person. So you say, I haven't had time to volunteer. Well, find something outside of you. Find something beyond yourself in order to feel that you are a part of society and serving society, something greater than you, in order to renew for a personal focus. And advocacy. You know, if you're an advocate, if you like standing up for something, for an issue, for yourself, for someone else, advocacy could be a way to contribute to the greater good, to contribute to the world. And then, of course, the last thing that I have identified under the personal focus is your health and wellness. What are you doing? How did you do this year to work on your health and wellness? Because if your body isn't able to keep you sustaining your business, if your body isn't able, then you cannot sustain your business pace, your business growth. Physical activity, dietary, physical checkups, medications, too many or too few, your personal pampering, massages, relaxation practices, stress management. If you're a caregiver, do you have relief periods to kind of get down from, come off of that caregiving? I know from what I speak, because I spent 10 years basically with caregiving for my mom before I lost her this year at 99. And so there were things I had to do to tend to her, but then also to tend to me so that I could continue tending to her. So caregiving is a huge part of being able to get away from that or somehow escape or renew yourself in order to stay vibrant business-wise. All those areas are your personal focus. Take a moment, rate yourself on how you handled your personal focus for this year. So, as we're coming to a close with this, what I want you to do is to then go through all of the categories again. And you notice that in your assessment, I gave you 2 columns. One was for looking back. One is for planning ahead. So go through all of the categories and then from start to finish and rate yourself on or identify where you want to be for next year. Where do you want to be? What's the number? What's the rating you want to be able to say you've given yourself at the end of next year? And plot that out on the circle. Plot that out on your graph as you think about how you want the new year to look for you. And go around just like you see here and plot out. As you can see, I did one color for looking back over the year. And of course, it wasn't a smooth circle. But look back over the year with one circle. Where do you want to be next year? Identify for each category where you want to be and maybe another color or however way you want to do that. And then what we're going to do is next program, we're going to talk about how you actually make that happen and put your put your plan on paper in order to make sure you're carrying out your plan in the new year. Again, the categories, here's a summary of the 8 categories that you should have been looking at, that you should look at for what you want to do next year. Or if you're watching this at the very beginning of the year, what you want to do this year. And then, how you did with that in the year that just passed or at the end of, in the year that just passed. So, last step. So what do you do? What do you do about looking ahead? Well, I've got several opportunities I want to share with you. And the biggest one, or the most, the one that's coming up right now is, depending on when you're watching this, is I am doing remember I talked about collaboration and with other people, joint venturing with other people. Well, if you've been tracking my Idea Labs, you've seen Susan Combe and I do a couple of ideation sessions over the year in other Idea Labs, and we will continue to do this next year. So just stay tuned. I might be asking, do you want to join us as somebody that takes advantage of that session? But Susan and I are coming together, and we're doing a workshop all day, hands-on, intensive workshop. December, you see right here on the screen, December 4th, and we're going to do it again January 17th of next year. We're going to actually have you create your one-page plan so that you put pen to paper or marker to easel page and actually work out your plan for the new year and actually work out how you're going to fill those gaps between how you did this year and where you want to go next year. We're going to have you actually set goals in a very, very creative way that you have not experienced before, most likely, and then take you through starting your one-page plan for the new year. That's Susan and I are going to do this in person. It is not live streamed. It will not be recorded. It will not be televised. But so you need to be here in person. If you are anywhere in the DMV area, that's District, Maryland, or Virginia area, plan to come, plan to be in this workshop. $97 for 2 experts to take you through a hands-on process that you will leave with beginning your one-page plan and having set your goals for the new year. You can do in one day what you might not get to for weeks otherwise. So you see the links on the screen. Plan to be at one or the other. I want to see those registrations come in. $97 is nothing considering what you're going to get from the program. So that's the one-page plan programs that are coming up. My radio show is ideasuccesswithsylvia.com. Will take you to my radio show. I did a program a few weeks ago that was basically, it's not too late. Take fourth quarter actions to save your business and get things done. So just you want to go to ideasuccesswithsylvia.com. You'll see that, or you'll find all of the radio shows there. I also had one of my radio programs. I talked about what worked, what didn't, and what are you going to change to implement your ideas. You might want to listen to that program. Next month's Idea Lab, or the next program in the Idea Lab series, I'm going to be going through your one-page plan. It'll be just a quick highlight overview of what Susan and I are going to cover in a full day and have you actually do that day. I'm going to give you the highlights of creating a one-page plan to either whet your appetite, or if you're one of those, oh, I can do that myself, I'll go, yeah, we'll see. But I'm at least going to give you an overview of what this one-page plan entails. That's the next Idea Lab. So you want to be at our workshops, you want to be paying attention to the Idea Lab, and that is how you will be setting yourself up for getting radical results in the new year by being prepared and being in action for the new year. If you didn't catch any of the URLs, if you didn't catch any of the websites I mentioned, you know you can always reach me at my website, which is ideasuccessnetwork.com. That's the main portal, my main website, and you can always get a hold of me. I'm your implementation strategist. You'll find me at ideasuccessnetwork.com, and I've got all the contact information there where you can reach me if you didn't get anything else in terms of contact info. And you have it at the bottom of every page of your business plan, of your performance review and report card. So if you've downloaded that document and if you've been following me throughout, you've got my contact info at the bottom of every page. So with that, I thank you for spending your time with me today, tonight, whenever it is you're watching this. I'm Sylvia Henderson, your host, and I want you to join me for the next Idea Lab. So I invite you to do your assessment, make the most of looking back, make the most of planning ahead, and I wish you to make a great day.